And we're on the Pirate Broadcast, and we have amazing, interesting guests doing interesting things. And today's no different because guess what? We have Judi Fox, Fox Rocks,
Woo-woo.
hashtag woohoo on the Pirate Broadcast. We got our hashtags down, Judi. How you doing
love
today?
it. Hashtag Pirate Broadcast meets hashtag Fox Rocks.
It's like a day in infamy. It's like wonderful, amazing Thursday. And I just want to thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and hang out.
I want to thank
and
you.
talk
That's so awesome.
Well, we've been connected for a while now, and we go back and forth, and I know everybody's busy on LinkedIn, and it's difficult to stay in up to date on everybody that's taken place. And it's I know you're fully engaged and involved in LinkedIn and training, and I want to cover some of those things. However, you also share a passion with me about video and the idea that video makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And a third thing is that you recently posted something about if you want referrals, you got to give them.
Yes.
It's like, let's talk about how you arrived at this place and what you're working on and what you're focused on and what you're passionate about. So bring us up to speed on what's Judi doing.
What is Judi doing? I mean, there's a lot of things I could go down the foxhole or the rabbit hole, but
I like that.
Yeah, but basically, having an engineering background myself, I'm a chemical engineer, and a lot of people are like, how did you connect the dots between that and what you do now? And I always say it's because I like taking tough things and breaking them down into their most actionable pieces. Plus, then I got my master's in sustainability. So what you mentioned when you first opened up this podcast, how can you do it all? Or how can you keep up? Or we can keep up. We cannot keep up with everyone. That is just a fact of life. And we really can and should honor like long-term connections, long-term relationships. You can't keep up maybe an activity where you might talk with somebody a lot, and then at some point you just have to be like, okay, I feel like we really know each other now. Let's stay in touch over the course of this year, next year, 5 years, 10 years. And some of the connections and relationships, even from college for myself, have turned into business. But it's about the years. It's like, I don't know how many 20 plus years since I've been in college. So you have to think long term.
And I always remind people of that fact, because there's a lot of people, and especially when you're in a scarcity mode and you're growing a business and you're just trying to get it going and you're just like, I just need to close something today. It's really hard to understand and comprehend that almost, and you're probably the same way, all of my business right now is totally based on relationships I've had over the years. And which I love and appreciate. And also, you have to continue to go out and reach out and build relationships and understand what people do. And I love to ask the question, how can I add value to your day? And it's like, if I can add value, maybe I can, maybe I can't. I don't know what you need right now. So if you can ask the question and just start the conversation, it's really a lot easier to get things moving forward.
Yeah.
When you're not expecting outcome, right?
Yeah. And that's why have high intentions, low expectations. If you put out a great intention, a great vibe, a great energy, and you just surround it all with low expectations, because nobody is ever required to get back to you. Nobody's ever required, unless you're literally paying them. At that point, you can be like, okay, you need to get back to me. But I think there's a lot of pressure and a lot of energy that is kind of fritted around in that scarcity kind of mode and mindset when people get really stressed, and it comes across and you can see somebody's energy behind them. And that's why I had a coach. I've had many coaches along the way, but one coach in particular, she helped me create something called an upward spiral guide. And it's meant to be read every single day. And it's supposed to remind you of your amazingness, because we get kind of caught up in all these wheels of, oh, but I didn't do this, or I didn't get back to this person, or this, or I let that fall through the cracks. Sometimes there's opportunities you're supposed to let fall through the cracks, and that's okay.
Yeah. I love that upward
Spiral
spiral.
guide.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
Yeah, it's a
So
visual kind of, grab some inspiration that you love out in the world, people who inspire you, inspirational words, kind of like a mood board or like a vision board. And then
yeah.
the other things is print out some of your most amazing testimonials that you've gotten, your recommendations, and read them back to yourself every day. Because if they really meant it and you really did it, you have to kind of remind yourself, that's what I'm capable of. That's what I do. Like, that sounds kind of funny, but we forget that
That
we don't look at our own
some
recommendations, that we get ourselves.
and sometimes we have to remind ourselves that yes, in fact, this is true and I am capable of doing this.
Yeah.
So what are you doing, and what is your your superpower right now as a result of that process? I mean, being able to see your upward spiral, and where are you headed with that upward spiral, and your superpowers, and some of the things that you're doing in life now, because you're
Um,
busy, you have family, and I love your videos with your son and everything that's going on. So
yeah. And
it's awesome.
I think the main superpower that I have is again, I have my MBA/master's in sustainability. So it's environmental sustainability with economic and societal. So it is a different degree, and that most people wouldn't necessarily expect.
Mhm.
At the time, there was maybe only 5 of these programs in the US, and I was valedictorian, so that's very exciting.
Woo!
But the main point of having this sustainability background is that ends up being my superpower, because I think from a place of how can you put processes in place that, like, my household got hit by a lot of sickness in February. It's the winter and there's a
Right.
lot of stuff going around, obviously, but we I mean, it's still a sustainable business. It still is running. It still has processes and procedures in place. And you just have to think, and sometimes you have to pause. Maybe right now is the best time for me to do this part of my business and really focus and take action. And I think that's a huge difference between results and not getting results. It's just
Mm.
focus and action.
Yeah, you really can't have an outcome unless you have a little bit of both, right?
Mhm.
You have to really kind of think about it. I- it's sustainability is this thing that you really have to you'll work at on a daily basis.
Mhm.
For myself anyway, I went through my experience with sustainability was in the farming. I used to have a small hobby farm, and we grew lavender and blueberries, and we had llamas and chickens and animals and everything else. And it was like, how do you take a piece of property, cultivate it, and work it all the time so it's productive year round,
Mhm.
not when the crop is ready, right? So it's one of those things that you have to think about, and it goes back to systems and processes
And then
and
apply it to a micro, one person, one household, me, my family, and my business, and apply it micro, and then you can apply it macro. So like you just shared, it's applicable to your crops and growing and field and systems and processes. Plus, then it's applicable to services and coaching online. And you think to yourself, really? But it does.
yeah,
It if you are able to set up processes that do generate leads, and there's so many people out there talking about, you need this funnel and you need this and you need that. What you really, really need is that, like I mentioned and you mentioned at the beginning, if you can get results for several people and you can really lean into those relationships and keep nurturing and not nurturing, it's just, you should like those people you're getting results for. If you really don't want to nurture or spend time in those relationships, continue
yeah,
supporting them. I know that I'm a huge fan of, I could start naming names, but like Brian
Yeah.
Wallace or Michaela Alexis or Chelsea Pites has been incredible. And she just published a book called What to Post. And
Uh-huh.
I am in her book. So, and she's been a client of mine. So I just feel like we forget that how,
Congratulations.
thank you. It's so exciting. And I think we forget how the ripple effect. And there's a quote out there that talks about you never know the dots you connect today where they'll go tomorrow. Like there's
Yeah.
just this energy of networking is not, oh, let me touch base with all these people I've never met before.
Right.
Networking is showing up at the same event over and over and over again and re-establishing relationships with the same people and building on it.
Yeah. And it's interesting because when you approach somebody, I always believe that if you have a conversation long enough, there's always a common thread in your connection. There's something that will come up in your history, in your activities, if your interests, or something will come up as a result of having an honest conversation with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, not everyone's intention is to be, business connection.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's you don't know who will bring others to the table,
Yeah.
through introductions of introductions. You're one conversation away, and especially with social media and LinkedIn and all of the people that we can meet, doesn't mean that we should have relationships with everybody that we have met, right?
Yeah. And just because somebody isn't active, I notice all the time somebody will say to me, this is potentially an ideal connection, but they're not active on LinkedIn. And I'm like, well, then go check out their Twitter.
Yeah.
Go check out their Pinterest. The moment you show up, I'm not even go give likes and comments on YouTube.
Yeah.
We forget that there's a human being on the other side of being a creator. So Erica Vieira is Beauty in the Vlog. I absolutely love her work, her platform, and just getting a chance to grow a relationship with her over now years, or it's going to be years, but like, it's just so much more important to pay attention. She has an incredible podcast. So she knows who's listening. She knows, even though she might have millions of downloads, if you keep showing up on somebody's content on Instagram, on wherever they are, it doesn't have to be LinkedIn. It's just LinkedIn's a great way to check out who somebody is, find out their title, find out they used to work here. Oh my gosh, that's a great person to connect with. Well, they're not active here. Well, then go find them where they are active.
Well, it's too funny because I was talking yesterday with somebody and we were talking about that same subject, is that way back a few years ago when I got into technology, there wasn't this opportunity. I mean, it was like, yeah, I don't have a website yet. It's like, and that went away. It's like, if you don't have a website and you're in business, it doesn't really make sense, right? So
some
now
type of landing page, anything,
yeah,
one
some
landing
sort
page.
some sort of presence that validates that you have a connection in the world. And now social media is much the same way. I'm hearing less and less that that social media is not where my community is, not where my customers are. And that's really becoming less and less. And so people show up somewhere and they participate somewhere, and they're out there, and they are people on the other side of the the platform. And so just making those connections and making those comments, and like you said, follow them and see what they're all about.
Yeah. I mean, here, I guess this is kind of like a mic drop moment, but like, if you are thinking, oh, I want to build a sustainable community, I want this, well, then go out and give it. That's a very, like the same thing we started off the podcast or the show with, which was, if you want the thing you want more of, go give the thing you want it. It's like a very reciprocal, I don't know, spiritual relationship with business, but give what you want to get.
Well, and I've always been fascinated. Years ago, in another chapter in the book of my life, I was providing office supplies to companies. So I would go in these companies, and it was like nondescript companies, and there was a warehouse and packaging and all this stuff going on. It's like, what do you do here? I've always been curious about what people do and how they do it.
Mhm.
And so the show, the Pirate Broadcast, is all about, interesting people doing interesting things and how they do it, how they show up, what their interests are, and how we can actually help other people shine by providing a platform like this. We're
Mhm.
streaming on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and LinkedIn, and it'll turn into a podcast later on, And
Mhm.
so it's just one of these things that has been fascinating for me, and the results have been phenomenal. So it's like, yeah, add value at every turn. So it's
Mhm.
one of those opportunities that you just have to put yourself out there and help others, and it and it
Yeah.
and it and it works.
Um, and I guess my addition to that is I mean, sometimes I think the same thing with help others, but I actually stopped myself from thinking that I'm helping others, and I'll
Mhm.
explain why. I
Sure.
changed to thinking because I did some studying of the drama triangle. And I don't know if you've ever heard about the drama triangle. It's basically where you have victims, helpers who are
Oh,
rescuers, and persecutors. So, and that's when you end up in this triangle of drama because you can't get out of it. At some point, you are a victim, and then you turn into this, and then you turn into persecuting them because you were a victim and you want to fight back. And it just doesn't make a good situation here. So, to translate that into something called the coach, the challenger, and all of a sudden, I'm forgetting like an empowerer. So
mhm.
instead of helping people, you empower them to be able to help themselves.
The
So
encourager.
yeah, exactly. So if you can turn around and change a conversation from here's how you can be empowered to do the thing that you need help doing. Because
Mhm.
yes, I think every single human being on this planet needs help, but we're not helpless. So I
No,
kind
we
of
are not helpless.
leaned into, and nobody is, but I think I leaned a little far away from, or a little further towards the word empowering people,
Mhm.
or other words. I came up with a huge sheet of paper that says all the other words we can use other than help. And the only reason why is because I noticed there's a lot of I help statements. And I feel
Mm,
like there's a lot of people leaning into, I can help you, I can help you, I can help you. I don't know you can help me.
yeah,
We don't know each other yet. So I think
yeah.
there's other words I'm teaching and coming from to show people that the opposite of help to really empower people is if they can then turn into people empowering others. And then you get that bigger ripple effect.
Well, that's interesting that you should say that, and I love that concept because, I would rather be an encourager than an
Mhm.
influencer, you
Yeah.
know?
Make
It's
an
like I don't wanna.
impact. Have your ripple effect go out from you.
Yeah, and I hadn't thought about it and framed it in that way to be, helping you, as much as encouraging you to help yourself,
Mhm.
you
Yep.
know? And I
A
always
slight
say,
subtle difference.
it's just
It's not the end of the world to help people. It's amazing to help people. I don't wanna bash helping anybody. I hope nobody hears that, but I started seeing that it was used
yeah,
so much, and I started asking myself, why was I getting whenever I feel like I'm getting a reaction to some word or something happening that I see in the DMs, direct messages, or emails, let me know how I can help you. Well, then all of a sudden the work is all on me. I have to now let you know how you can help me, which I knew you didn't know how to help me. But it's this
yeah.
like weird, starts turning into a mini drama triangle where I need rescued and I don't need rescued. Like,
No, no.
so I think it's interesting to shift. It's a slight shift to this other triangle.
I really appreciate that, and thank you for sharing that because, and I guess it goes back to, so if I say, "How can I add value to your day?"
That's totally different. That's you opening the door for them to be like, "Oh, sure, this would be valuable to me." And that doesn't make them into a victim or needing rescue or anything. It just admits they would love that value. Hello, send it on my way.
And it may be, it may be somebody, an introduction to Judi. It's like, I
Maybe.
don't know. It's like,
Well, I will say
that's how
that,
that works, right?
yeah. So I will say that a lot of people come into so I have a LinkedIn Business Accelerator, and I lean into the business and accelerator part because LinkedIn just happens
Uh-huh.
to be a tool that we're all using to connect with each other. Just like I already mentioned Twitter, I mentioned Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest already. It's just a way for us to connect. So you can accelerate your business on any platform. So I'm more leaning into business
Yeah.
principles like leadership. And that is truly what I go over. Actually, the entire first module of my coaching is all about leadership, how to shift into certain types of voices so you can show up as a leader, because you're going to have more of an impact if you are a leader and showing up with that energy than if you are, showing up in the drama triangle.
Let's stay out of the drama triangle.
Exactly. It's like the Bermuda Triangle.
Oh, let's just don't go there. Don't go there. So I want to go another place though.
Yeah.
I want to kind of shift this, and I want to thank Vicky O'Neill and Lori Knudsen
Vicky.
and Sherry
Hi.
Lawley, and Angie, Tammy Collins, all of the people, Jennifer. Thank you so much. And if you're not connected
Yes.
with Judi, follow her over at Judi LinkedIn. It's like Judi W. Fox is your
Yeah.
actual
That's
LinkedIn.
when I got my handle or whatever back in 2009, and now it's just stuck. So
Yeah. The point is that there are resources here in LinkedIn, and it's an incredibly powerful platform. And I love other platforms, and I'm on other platforms, and and like the hashtag Fox Rocks, if you do a search, you show up, right? And so I encourage people to also, own something and just continue to show up, and consistency is key. And you have trained a lot of LinkedIn people, and some of the things. Talk a little bit about your program and how that has evolved over time, and what you
yeah.
see going forward on LinkedIn, and what's working and what's maybe not necessarily true that people still believe.
Well, I think the biggest difference is my program is more broken out into step by step how to really get, I don't know, if you want more attention in PR or press, or if you want more opportunities to be on stage, it does go back to that principle. You have to give what you want to get. So if you're interested in getting the attention of Arianna Huffington, and I've had some clients and myself have had messages back from Arianna Huffington because of showing up, being more consistent with supporting that content coming out of Thrive or out of any of her platforms, we again forget she's just another human that wants encouragement and support. And if that is her writing the comments, awesome. If it's her team, the team is doing amazing because they make it sound,
Yeah.
her comments are amazing. And it does make me think it is her. The only reason why I say that is because she doesn't reply to every comment. And I honor that. At some point, Sarah Blakely, who runs Spanx, the CEO of Spanx, and it's huge, she will reply to some comments, but just a few. Like, it's kind of interesting, which makes me think that is them. And they are
Yeah.
paying attention, and we see the great messages, and then we also see the ones that are not so great. So I think that we forget there, no matter the size of the company, the brand, the person, there's just another human on that has the same skin, that has the same issues, same worries, same health concerns. It's just a level playing field.
Yeah.
And so I think there's certain signals we send, and that's what I go over. I go over more of the kind of business signals you send out. Are you high end? Are you going to say certain things that actually hurt your positioning? Because the moment you get on a call with somebody, that call should be either well qualified, that they know that they're going to expect that your program is worth it and your value is worth it. And it's a sales call, and it's, we're not, how do I say this? A lot of people say, like, let's chat. but they know that they want to just do business. So I just coach from a
Yeah.
place of just be clear. This is business.
Yeah.
You don't have to set up calls to chat if you don't want to. So
No.
you
I
can,
don't need to. I don't need to just chat.
yeah. And I noticed that even companies, big brands, I worked with a big brand the other day and I love them. The Harmon Brothers. Do you know who the Harmon Brothers are? They made
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Squatty Potty videos. So I
Yeah.
worked with Benton Crane and Daniel Harmon on their LinkedIn profiles, got on coaching calls with them. And, I had to go over that and say, if you have an application process on your website, just do what
Uh-huh.
is working. If that's working on your website, let's figure out how to make it work on your LinkedIn profile. Because you're
Yeah.
here for business. We know that we're not going to get out of the hold of the CEO of Harmon Brothers and just chat. So
Yeah.
you qualify people to get on a call, do the same thing on LinkedIn. And they were like,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh,
that's
okay.
great. So now they have an application process and not a let's chat in the DMs. So
Yeah. Well, it's going back to the process, the systems
mhm.
that you use and what your intention is
Yeah.
and where you're going and it's sustainability,
Mhm.
right? It's sustainability. And it's like, okay, let's build sustainability in the conversation. Let's build that intention in what we're talking about and who we're talking to.
Yeah.
So
And you don't
so
wanna
what do you
shut
see?
down those conversations and great relationships and potential to chat. You're not closed off to it. You never are. But what ends up happening is you shift and the 80% of the conversations result in more opportunities, sales, collaboration, because you're coming at it with, there's a business conversation happening here versus the 20% can just be chit chat if you want or a connection. Like
Yeah.
somebody the other day reached out and said, I'd love to these X3 people have connected us and said we need to talk, and I think we just need to talk, and then I do it. I'm like, sure, let's just talk then and see where it goes.
Well, and sometimes those are the most
Mhm.
intriguing and engaging conversations that we have
Yeah.
when there is no expectation
Mhm.
involved, because then you can open up and be honest and you don't authentic, I guess, is a word that's been really tossed around a lot recently. Is I have to be authentic. I have to be transparent. It's like I just have to be me. I'm me here. I'm me there. I'm the same me everywhere. So when you're me everywhere, it doesn't really matter because you show up, you do the work, you have conversations, and then you do business. I mean, it's
Right. I'm
life
just
doesn't have
talking
to be
about
more.
the sales signal of saying a CEO of a major company being available to chat in the DMs doesn't necessarily send a signal that I'm thinking about the consumer's brain when they land on
Mm,
somebody's page and they see a CEO being able to chat.
yeah,
Immediately, you position them differently than if they say, here's an application to apply to get on a call, or so we
yeah.
can at least decide that we're a great fit to talk. Because I don't think any CEO is just sitting around just chilling. Like maybe they are.
Well, that's not really their job.
But most of the time they're busy, and so we don't wanna send that signal. It's a slight
Yeah,
difference of a signal, but the way you phrase how you will connect with people doesn't mean you're closed off to it, just the way you phrase it.
yeah. I really love that approach. I really love that approach. So what's happening in the future of Judi Fox and Fox Rocks? I
Um,
mean, what are you going to continue to do this coaching and consulting and not helping others, enabling others to do what they need to do,
yes, empowering them. Yeah, I mean,
empowering.
I see just taking the next right action. That's what I've kinda always preached for myself. Because I think when people sit down and they try to map out, and I think it's come from watching a lot of incredible business professionals ahead of me, and
Mhm.
sometimes when they hold the reins too tightly on exactly what's gonna happen, I think it's more I would love to, have and thrive on a YouTube channel because I would love to do that. I just need to map out what that looks like. But I feel like when I start looking, and I love that you ask that, but I really, it's funny that this goes back to my first LinkedIn video that I ever posted, which was about I wanted my goals to align with my soul. And I'll never forget that
Mm,
video because it really popped and took off, but also because it it still resonates to me to this day. I went through a period of time where I got burned out by the
yeah,
corporate, where are you going to be in 5 years? Where are you going to be in 10 years? You have to be this on the ladder. I got so burned out by it. And I think I'm still a
yeah,
little burned out by it. I can still achieve all the things in the world, but I'm just kind of over trying to figure out where I'm going to be in 5 years.
yeah.
I'm just glad to
Well,
be here
and
tomorrow.
sometimes yeah, every day is a gift to me.
Mhm.
You know, it's the way I look at it is I I will continue to engage and have conversations like this, and I want that value wherever possible. And if people want to receive that, that's a wonderful thing. And I just believe that you know, kindness is cool and smiles are free is, you know, what I always love to
I
share.
love that.
And I truly believe that. And it's like if we can just do something good to make a difference in someone's day, that energy just continues to flow. And if you can get in that mindset of giving back and contributing to the people around you, whether you know them or not, it's not a
Mhm.
bad thing. So what do you want to leave with the world today? To
A pirate joke.
the big mindful piece of information Fox can with the pirate community. Now that you're a pirate,
Yeah, I could leave with a pirate joke.
okay.
I'm sure
Do
you've
you have a
heard this
pirate
one.
joke for
Of course I have a pirate joke. I have tons of joke books over there. Oh my gosh, I have a gazillion pirate jokes. I probably need to come up with a new one because I've been recycling this one. But you know, what is a pirate's favorite letter?
I don't know. What is a pirate's favorite letter?
You don't know what a pirate's favorite letter is?
No, I'm not gonna give it up.
No, you do. You do. Just say it. That's part of the joke.
It's P.
P? Why is P? This joke fell so bad. You're,
Oh, it felt so bad.
you're supposed to say R, R, and
Arr.
then I say, you thought it'd be the R, but it's actually the C. Bad. And I've told that
Ah.
joke like 30,000 times, so it's so bad.
Oh, so bad. So
Um,
thank you so much for being here, Judi. I really appreciate the fact, and everybody that jumped in, Rodrigo,
Hi, Rodrigo.
Kenyatta, R. Vicky, everybody else knew the joke.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
okay,
they all know it.
they
It's
all
R,
know
but
the
it's
joke.
actually the C.
It's actually the
They
ski.
all know the joke. I need to get my joke books out. I have 3 joke books over there for kids, and I need to just pull
Oh,
them
that's
out.
perfect. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I
Thank
really
you.
thank you for being here and contributing to the community and lifting people up in the LinkedIn community. It's fabulous. I love it.
Well,
And
thank you
so
for all that you do for the
until next,
community.
well, thank you so much. And as I say, you know, kindness is cool. Smiles
Smiles
are
are
free.
free.
And if you're not connected with Judi, go reach out, follow her stuff, you know, make comments, get engaged, and don't help her, encourage her. All right.
We all need a little bit of encouragement, love, and free smiles.
Free smiles. All
Awesome.
right.
Thank you.
Enjoy the day.
Thank you.